Does the line, comparison is a thief of joy, sound familiar? Or can you relate to it? I mean, let's face it, we live in a society where comparison is very common. We compare clothing style, body shape, hair color, hair length, Instagram follower counts, and even relationships. Most importantly, relationships. And the comparison with relationships happens in two ways. One, comparing your relationship with someone else's, and two, comparing your current relationship to your past relationships. And I'm here to say, cut it out, because it's very unhealthy. If you're new here, and this is the first time we are connecting, my name is Sharifa Namsisi. I'm a marriage counselor and life coach at Let's Fix It Individual and Couples Counseling, but it's a Thursday. And that means today I'm at Heritage Family Center in Nansana, a training center that helps ensure couples have strong, healthy relationships and helps build stronger families. So for personal assistance, I will leave all the information you need to reach me or Heritage Family Center at the end of this video. Moving on. I've seen time and time again relationships sliding downhill, all because one or both partners started using another relationship or person to measure against their own relationship. Why can't you be more like him? You know, my ex used to do this and that. Hey mama, look at them, they have it all. She's so hot, why can't I look like her? Machala wange number 2, ebintu abikola bwati ne bwati. Why can't you be like her? Mulekera wempi. If number 2 is better, then go be with her. If your ex has more money or is better, then dayo, go back. Odds are you would feel worthless and unappreciated by your spouse if they made that kind of comparison. And that's exactly how they feel when you start comparing them to others. And even if your spouse started to take the qualities of someone else, it wouldn't be a replica of your past experience, because whether you like it or not, no two relationships or people are the same. I know it's really difficult to stop ourselves from falling into this unhealthy cycle of destructive comparison, because unfortunately, we've been taught to compare. We have been conditioned to compare from way back when we were little. Na mama akubuza, "Rach tolina magezi nga mwana wa gundi. Rach tobera nga mukulu wo." Always comparing. Somebody else has a better house. Somebody else has has a better body. Somebody else has more money. Somebody else has a more charismatic personality. Compare. You go on comparing yourself with everybody else you pass by. But do you know what this unhealthy comparison does to you in the end? It breeds jealousy. From making obsessive comparisons, then becoming so envious of what the other person has that you don't, that you start wanting it for yourself so bad that you would do anything to have it and not the other person. But a few tips for you to break that bad habit. 1, looks can be deceiving. When it comes to relationships and people, what they show us may seem like complete contentment while they're busy hiding their fights behind closed doors. The only relationship you have all the details on is your own. What looking at life through the lens of social media does is filter everything that we see, leaving us with a permanent sense of what we have isn't good enough, or that we should want more. But one thing I know for sure is everybody is screwed up. Everybody is broken, scared. People have their skeletons in their closets. Even the people who seem to have it more or less together, they are much more like you than you would believe. You don't know or see everything. You never know what's truly going on in someone's relationship, whether they stay low-key or make Instagram posts daily. And I mean, you shouldn't. It's their relationship, and it should therefore stay between them. Don't let social media relationships or relationships that your friends have dictate yours. 2, remember people show their love in different ways. Your BFF spouse may shower her with flowers and gifts, while the last bouquet you received from your man is somewhere deep in the hole. But before you come to the conclusion that your friend has a better deal, think about how your guy shows his affection. Does he call you every now and then to check in, even though you know he hates talking on the phone? Does he compliment you on the daily, help out with chores, children? Why don't you try to focus on what your man does or what your woman does? and not what someone else receives. Tukirize, each relationship is different. Each relationship has its own way of working, and that's okay. Sometimes I'm guilty of this. I mean, of course, I'm not immune to the glamour and distractions that are outside my bubble. However, I do know that my relationship will never be exactly like yours or other people, because I am me and my husband is his own self, and together we are not the other couple. We will never be them. My relationship isn't theirs, but that doesn't mean that my relationship isn't amazing too. Maybe I don't take super cute photos on mountaintops, but maybe I do have someone who has my back, especially when the world feels like it's crashing down. I have someone who will send me cute good morning texts or holds my hand as I conquer my fears, and maybe that's relationship goals too. But then you'll find your husband respects you so much, like his life depends on it. Nobody can have it all. Each lover you have has a different way of expressing love and a different capacity to love. 3. The grass isn't greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. Do not let your relationship perish from neglect. There is nothing wrong with wanting big and better, of course, but the mistake many of us make is not recognizing that the greatest opportunities we have are right under our feet. Most of the time. If you choose to prioritize your relationship and invest in it, you can make it work. You can make conscious efforts to keep the grass greener on your end. Be happy with what you have while working for what you want. It's very easy to think about the things we see missing in our spouses and our marriages, all the improvements we want to see while taking for granted all the good things about our spouses and our marriages. But hey, just because your spouse and marriage are different doesn't mean they're wrong. So instead of focusing on the cons of your spouse, you can choose to focus more on the pros. Redirect your thought process when you have the urge to compare your marriage or spouse to others. These statements that we make that blame our partners for the deficit are not only unhealthy for the marriage, but could lead to many issues down the road. Have you heard of healthy comparisons? Comparisons that don't lead to jealousy, envy, and strife, but the ones that motivate us. Like if a person has achieved something you would like to achieve, you can use that information to help you progress by taking inspiration from the journey of that person or relationship, rather than thinking, that person has achieved something that I don't have, and therefore that person is better than I am in ABCD. You can instead think, I like what they have achieved, and I'm impressed with their process. If I work hard at that thing, I can make progress too. This takes inspiration from another while centering on the act of progress rather than the comparison. Kiriza Obagana, comparing your life or marriage to others with a jealous attitude will not get you where you want to be. You should be open with your partner about your expectations. Be open to your partner about your desires to be loved or treated in certain ways. If he or she isn't treating you the way you want to be treated, communicate. If you're someone who responds to love in the form of social media, sappy posts and flowers, say that. If you're somebody who likes to keep things low-key, say that too. Your partners are not your mind readers. I mean, I would like to advise you to be realistic. Mulekerawo kuba ni unrealistic expectations. Gwe tokola, okay? Otuddawo, omwami afuna 1 million a month. He has bills to pay, but you're demanding that he takes you on trips monthly. Agateke ebirabo bya buli week just because olaba bawagundi abimukolera. Oluusi bannamwe munyigira babwerere. Find something that works for you mu busobozi bwammwe. It's like comparing your body to the photoshopped images in a magazine. That's unrealistic. Kati wechituka kufa abali ku mizigo, I will be eating my mukene nuts in peace. Nengere neibanga yo kyennyama ekyo kinchankalanye. Ntandika okuteeka omwami ku pressure naye nga amazima nkimanyi nti we cannot afford the meat. We need to learn to cultivate 3 of the most important things in life that would teach us how to be content and stop all the comparisons, the unhealthy comparisons. 1 is awareness. 2 is acceptance. 3 is patience. How do we cultivate awareness? Well, in order to be content with what you already have, you need to become aware of what you already have. Most of us are so focused on the future that we rarely stop to appreciate what's right in front of our eyes. Be willing to open your mind to the good things that are already happening in your life. And one way to create more awareness is to list at least 3 things you're grateful for every day. Of course, there are moments when you compare yourself to others or wish you had something more in life. But remember that these moments will pass and you will not feel this way forever. If anything, mindfulness is going to teach you that none of your thoughts, feelings, or beliefs have to be permanent. How do we cultivate acceptance? Well, this is by remembering that things happen throughout the course of our lives that we simply have no control of. No matter no kakana ichonochikiriza once you understand this. Once you've become more aware of what you already have, which takes regular practice, by the way, you have to cultivate greater acceptance of yourself, of your situations, and of others. Acceptance is the willingness to see things as they are in the present, not clouded by judgment or bias. Do you ever think that you need to be better at something or feel that you should be more like so and so? Ask yourself if these thoughts are coming from a place of self-compassion. But if they're fueled by jealousy or comparison, take a step back and ask yourself what is most important for you right now. Is it accepting yourself as you are, or try to make yourself into someone completely different? This doesn't mean you should passively accept everything as is. Obviously, there is always room for improvement, especially in our world today, but acceptance means not forcing things to be a particular way. Instead, you stay open to the idea that there is more than one way to do something, and that means not living your life the same way as everybody else. Accept the situation you're in. Reassure yourself that everything in life happens for a reason. Whatever burden you're facing isn't accidental. You have to simply look at it as an opportunity for a new beginning. You are still capable of doing great things in life, but you have to accept your past and build on it. If you can do all of that, you can look forward to these things beginning to happen. Lastly, you must learn to practice patience. Patience is about letting things unfold in their own time. If you allow yourself grace, compassion, and patience, you will see that you already have everything you need to be content with your life. Sometimes we rush into things and make impulsive decisions because we are afraid of missing out. Patience will help you make the right decision every single time. Take the pressure off yourself by giving yourself some breathing room. Step away from seeking answers and let them come. Sometimes you have to trust the process and believe that you will get where you need to be, even if you don't know how or when. But just start embracing the moment and be open to wherever it takes you. Being content with what you have isn't exactly easy, but it is very possible. You must be intentional about it. If you find yourself wishing life was different, I need you to remember when the Prophet ﷺ taught us that we should not look at those who have more than us, but instead look at those who have less than us, because it is all a matter of perception. And these perceptions are the ones causing these negative feelings. If you look at someone who has way less than you, you will feel like you have more. And as a result, you will naturally be happier and become more grateful. Whereas when you look at someone who has more than you do, you're definitely going to feel like you have less in comparison. And you see, this is going to lead you to being unhappy and feel ungrateful for what you have. Finally, I want to encourage everyone to run their own race. Do whatever you do so that you can make a positive impact on your life and relationship. And to do so means conquering new territories. So study those ahead, learn how they did it, their mistakes, how you can refine or do it better, and then go for it. Compare wisely. Be inspired, but do not let it become obsessive. Be you, not them. Comparing yourself to you more than you compare yourself to others means you have to look at where you are and appreciate how far you have come and where you are today. Give yourself one big pat on the back, because in truth, we are only permitted to outdo our past, not get into ferocious competitions, going for each other's throats in the name of comparisons. Our most accurate and meaningful comparison is to our past selves. When we aren't careful and deliberate with how we make comparisons, the underlying fear in comparison defaults us into a negative mindset. Our fear tells us that when two things don't line up, then there is something wrong. This isn't necessarily the case. Every relationship is different and it can be beautiful. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. It's useless to compare ourselves to the masters when we are just beginners. My advice? Self-comparison is the most healthy habit. We need to practice it more. When we look to ourselves and our relationships and measure our progress, our growth isn't dependent on the work or standings of other people's relationships. Self-comparison allows us to be more gradual with our progress, and it can help instill us with patience. The wonderful thing about self-comparison is the fact that it places sole responsibility on yourself. If you want to be better than you were yesterday, if you want your marriage, your relationship to be better than it was yesterday, then you must continue putting in the work. Ja amaso amabi ku bufumbo n'obulamu bw'abanno. We all have different strengths, weaknesses. We go through different circumstances, experiences. We all have different interests. We are all totally different. And in general, we are all similar because everyone is struggling at something and succeeding at something. So the best thing you can do right now for your marriage is improve your communication as a couple and have regular marriage checkups. Sit with your spouse, connect, talk about your relationship, and give healthy critiques. More importantly, we can ask for healthy critiques in what our spouse needs from us. Talk about it with your partner. That is healthy comparison, because you would like to improve your marriage by adding something that you think will help. We have to define the marriage we desire on a paper or your marriage vision and work together with a plan of action to make it a reality. So, ask yourself, have you talked with your spouse about what kind of marriage you want? About your marriage goals? Are you even on the same page? Can he meet or can she meet your expectations? Bino wetubibusa amaso and keep looking at other people's marriages. Sooner or later, we are going to start to become unnecessarily resentful of our relationships, of our partners, simply because of a couple you saw at a party or posts you saw on social media, even ones that are irrelevant to your own relationships. If we are wrapped up in other people's businesses, other people's relationships, how they look like or how ours compares, instead of being present with our partner, it will end in tears. Don't take your focus off of what you have in your life right now. Create your own happiness and own it. Unhealthy comparison is nothing but a fast track to unhappiness. All it does is keep you focused on what you and your partner do not have. The more you focus on others, the more you lose control and focus on your own path. If you come to my house and you see my man helping me change diapers, go watch Chikoze with all your 4 children, he takes good care of the family. Don't start looking on the sides. You will be sidetracked. Otandikoli yombo welutetagisa. Kale, I can't believe tumanyi naye bakyusa diaper. Omanyi naye bakasiba, omanyi naye bakasumulula. Negwala bibawa hajat chichakola. You see, this kind of communication pattern is definitely going to lead to lost love in the later stages of your relationship. Keep your eyes on the prize. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.